stuck on Korea. Yeah, for any number of reasons. So let's talk about America for a little bit. What is going on? Those crazy riots. Crazy riots. Well, one of the reasons I'm doing this video log, the vlog or podcast, is because you're not getting a good picture of what's happening in America. The Yonhap News or Korea Times or other news outlets, we have a couple conservative outlets, but not very many conservative sources of news. Most of them are pretty left wing or liberal. So they're not really saying what's really happening in America. They're saying what they want to be happening in America. And it's often regurgitating or restating what's already in CNN or America's MSNBC or ABC News or something like that, all of which is pretty left-wing. It's taken a couple of decades, actually probably 50 years. Yeah, probably since the 60s. That would be 45 years. 45 years, almost 50. No, 55 years. My math is not great. But the liberals, the left wing, has taken over our major institutions in America. So our universities tend to be pretty left wing, pretty radical thinking, sometimes socialist, sometimes communist. Our news outlets, the same way. So what we hear about America comes from the point of view of people who are very extreme in their thinking, too extreme. And so they paint a picture that says that the rioters, the demonstrators, and the people who are committing crimes are somehow oppressed by the rest of society. That means that they're abused by the rest of society. They're not, and they never have been. In fact, the reason they're able to riot and demonstrate is because they are using the freedoms that have been secured for them by the conservative element in America. So who are these people? The demonstrators and rioters and the criminals, like Black Criminals Matter, BCM, they call themselves Black Lives Matter, but it really is Black Criminals Matter. They live life thinking that it's all about them. It's a very selfish approach to life. They want to take the things that they see because they think everything belongs to them. They want to enjoy all the rights and freedoms that they possibly can, which is a good thing, but they want to have nothing of the responsibilities that go with rights. For every right, there is a duty. So if I have the freedom to do something, then I have the duty to not do something else. The duty is not to take away any of the freedoms that belong to somebody else. So all of my freedoms are basically cut in half because my duty is not to infringe upon the freedoms of other people. Well, the left wing in America seems to think that we should have all the rights and the freedoms, but none of the duties. The right wing, the conservatives, tend to have responsibilities and duties. They enjoy rights as well. But they demand that we also support those rights by living up to our responsibilities, our duties. The duties, pretty commonly in society, are reflected in what we call cultural mores. A more, M-O-R-E, more. It looks like more, it's just pronounced a little bit different, so there's an accent, right? A little slash over the E. It means the things that are important to that culture. And so you have folkways, you have traditions, you have manners, you have all kinds of things. So that in Korea, for instance, If I drink this cup of coffee like this, a little rude, right? Especially if I'm young. If I'm 20 years old, then I would drink my coffee like this. I wouldn't let you actually see the cup reaching my lips, right? I'd have to turn my head. That would be good manners. That would be politeness in Korea when drinking coffee. That's a folk way or a more, cultural more, something that's unique to Korea. In America, we don't care how you drink your coffee or your mekju or anything else, your milk. You just put it to your lips and you drink. You don't have to turn your head. But we have a more Confucian approach to respect for others in society, from family to political leaders to teachers. And along with that Confucian system of hierarchy and respect comes different ways of displaying our respect, whether it means turning our head, looking the other direction, or holding our hand in front of our mouth as we're taking a drink. That's actually pretty cool. One of my biggest impressions when I first started teaching at my university, Keimyung University, Keimyung Daehakyo here in Daegu, which I love. It's a great university, and I'll never leave it. I'll stay here till they kick me out, right, when I retire, 5 years. I was walking across the street at the East Gate. That's the entrance on the east side of campus. Walking across a big road, maybe 6 or 7 lane road. And so it's heavily controlled by street lights. And so people wait for maybe 3 to 5 minutes in order to cross the road. So you usually see large groups of kids, students, gathering to cross the road, and they know the timing of the lights, so when to cross, which crosswalk to take, and stuff like that. Well, one time I was crossing that road with a large group. So there were probably 20, 25 of us going one direction, and there were 20, 25 students coming the other direction. And one of the kids in my group, I had to be probably 20 years old, saw his senior, somebody in his department that was older than him. And he bowed in the middle of the street, in the middle of the crosswalk, right? Time's going on. Soon cars are going to come rolling over anybody that happens to be in the way. But he stopped and he bowed to his senior. And his senior acknowledged the bow, gave a quick nod of his head, and they went on about their way. That's the Confucian system of respect that says that even if someone is only a single year, 1 year older than them, they're still higher in the hierarchy of our social system. And so we show them respect. And that student did. That made a huge impression on me. And I've seen other indications of that respect since that time. And it moves me deeply. Actually, I love that. Where were we? Oh, right. Demonstrations and riots in America. All right, so you've got the left wing and the right wing. Left wing, they don't know anything about the idea of respect. And so they don't respect government officials. They don't respect police. They don't necessarily respect their parents. They don't want to hear their parents' 60 years of experience and how it can help them to get through their hard times in their life and help them to shape their own thinking. Instead, they want, and they want, and they want, and that's all, that's it. And so if you think of Sigmund Freud and psychology, Sigmund Freud, Austrian psychologist, talked about the id, ego, and the superego. The id is the part of all of our personalities that wants everything. We see what we want and we take it. Whether it's things, whether it's a cup of coffee that somebody else is drinking, if we want it, we grab that cup and we take it for ourselves, right? That's the id, out of control. Fortunately, all of us have an ego. According to Sigmund Freud, the ego is the part of us that controls the id. says, don't worry, I'll get you that cup of coffee, but we're going to do it legally, so you're not going to get in trouble, right? So if the id is a powerful horse, right? This is Freud's example. If it's a powerful horse that just wants to run crazy, the ego is the rider pulling back on the reins saying, oh, you'll get there, but let me get you there safely, right? So it's not conscience. It's just self-control. And then there's the superego. So you have the id, the basic self. You have the ego, which is in control. And then you have the superego. The superego is the last part of our personality to develop. And sometimes it does not develop completely in people. And the superego is the idea of conscience. Not just deciding whether we can do something and get away with it, but whether we should do something. Whether it's good for us, good for society, whether we could do something in good conscience and not feel guilty about it. As I look around for some answers, the questions go round like a kamikaze pilot. Enlightenment's just a romancer. I wish it were here, shining brightly through the skylight. Get a hold of yourself. Get a hold of yourself now. Get a hold of yourself. Get a hold of yourself now. Boy. If everyone here is invited, I'm more in the dark than I ever even guessed. If everyone here is invited, I wish you were here, dressed up in your Sunday best. Get a hold of yourself. Get a hold of yourself now. Get a hold of yourself. Get a hold of yourself now. Boy. Ba 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 da ba. Ba 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 da ba. Get a hold of yourself. Get a hold of yourself now. Get a hold of yourself. Get a hold of yourself now. Ba da ba ba da ba ya ya ba.